How's it going, everyone? My name is Michael SK, and welcome back to Higurashi When They Cry. Now, in the last episode, things were extremely wholesome. Probably the most wholesome piece of content I have ever been able to put out on my channel. I definitely recommend you guys go watch that episode, especially the last maybe 10 or so minutes. Absolutely beautiful stuff. Just incredible. Definitely recommend it. And super excited to continue on off of that really wholesome content. Definitely. Anyways, let's continue on. Let's see what happens. I mean, the spooky vibe has only continued, and there's more questions really being brought up, which is pretty interesting. Just seeing really what's going on now. There's like a bit of alienation that we're kind of feeling right now, which is pretty unnerving. Sorry if you hear dogs in the background, by the way. I don't really know what my microphone can pick up, but it's probably that. It's probably my rat dog barking. I was out of it and couldn't bring myself to do anything until dinner except stare blankly into space. Hey, that's what I do in my spare time. Was I terrified from Rena going off on me? No, that's not right. That was someone else who only looked like Rena. And then who could it have been? It was a dreadful feeling, knowing that that was someone else, not Rena. So tomorrow I shouldn't have a problem talking to Rena like I usually do. That thought was strangely comforting. I concluded that I should just calm down and clear my head. Though those thoughts continued swirling around my mind, finally I returned to my senses as I heard my mother calling out to me from the bottom of the stairs.
Keiichi, 本屋さんから電話よ.
Bookstore? Can't think of why they'd be calling me. I went downstairs and picked up the receiver anyway. Yeah, I sort of figured. I mean, like, why would an investigator trying to, investigate a case which is being kept under wraps, I guess is the term. It's being kept a secret. Why would an investigator announce himself as an investigator of a secret case? I can understand him covering himself up there. Uh-huh.
大石さん？大石さんじゃないですか。
ごめんなさいね。ご両親が出られたので本屋さんということにしておきました。警察ですって名乗るといろいろ気分を害されるでしょうしね。
Yeah, I get it. Like I said, Uishi-san was, in his own way, rather courteous. Even so, I didn't want my parents hearing me talk to the police. I brought the cordless phone with me as I dashed back up to my room on the second floor.
夜分遅くにすみませんですね。実は昨日渡した電話番号のメモ、あれ古い番号だったんです。本当に申し訳ない。これから申し上げる番号を控えておいてもらえますか。
あ、はい。どうぞ。
He gave me the number for his direct line as I wrote it down. I thought that was the end of it, but he began making pointless small talk, and it was pretty hard to hang up.
さて、どうでしょう、前原さん。何か変わったことはありましたか？
It's been one day. I see. This was the real reason. He really beat around the bush there. His adult conversational skills left me slack-jawed.
大石さんはここの地元の方ですか？
ええ、そうです。生まれも育ちも沖宮ですよ。
If he's from around here, he might know.
大石さん、鬼隠しって何のことか知ってますか？
それはですね、人が鬼にさらわれ忽然といなくなってしまうことなんです。この辺り独特の言い回しですね。世間様で言う神隠しと同じ意味です。
Whereas my friends would say they didn't know when I asked, this older man gave me a direct answer. It made me a bit happy that he answered me directly without trying to hide anything.
Hinamizawa 前原さんにこんなこと言っていいんでしょうか。
Wow, you told us so much already. This is where he's really uncertain.
もったいぶらないでくださいよ。大石さんが言わないなら俺も何も言いませんよ。
ああ、いやいや。そういう意味じゃないんですよ。ただその気を悪くされないかと思いましてね。
Aren't we already feeling that way?
実はですね、Hinamizawaはその昔、鬼の住む里って呼ばれて恐れられていたんですよ。
Ah, of course it was.
鬼って地獄にいる金棒を持った
というよりは人食い鬼ですな。里に降りてきて人をさらって食い散らかしてしまう。なんて怖い昔話があるんですよ。
I get what you're saying. I've seen Demon Slayer. I get it. Demons snatching up people is what this Onikakashu really means.
たたりと鬼隠しは一緒に起こるって言ってましたけど、どういうことですか？
I already knew about the mysterious deaths happening 5 years in a row, but I didn't know there were people disappearing for those same 5 years.
たたりと鬼隠しが必ず一緒に？それは初めて聞きました。そうなんですか、前原さん。
それは俺が聞きたいですよ。レナとミオンが話してたんです。お社様のたたりなら必ずたたりと鬼隠しが起こるって。
Oishi-san began hemming and hawing on the other end of the receiver. Maybe something about that came to mind?
前原さん、最初の事件ご存知ですよね。バラバラ殺人。
ええ、6人の犯人のうち1人はまだ逃走中なんですよね。
例えばそれ、逃走中じゃなく鬼隠しにあったんじゃないでしょうかね。
Huh? It was an outrageous hypothesis from Oishi-san. The incident 4 years ago was the particularly ghastly one. The police already knew the perpetrators, so they posted tons of wanted posters with his face on them. They staked out various locations and investigated every possible escape route he had. But after 4 years, there wasn't even a hint of where he might be. Unless the police were completely incompetent. Even if it was an outrageous hypothesis, I couldn't simply laugh it off.
じゃあその翌年の事故はどうです？誘致派の男と妻が一緒に事故死したんですよね。
実はですね、正式には事故死したのは夫だけなんです。妻は死体が上がりませんでしたから。現行法では死体が発見されない限り行方不明扱いなんですよ。
At the time of the incident, with the river below the cliff being muddy rapids, the police divers had searched every branch off the main stream of the river for dozens of miles. But in the end, they weren't able to find her body.
でも死体が見つからないだけで亡くなったんですよね。
I'm liking this hypothesis
鬼
here.
隠しとは違うんじゃないですか？
It's really making you think.
死体が出ない以上亡くなったとは言えません。法律で定めた年月が過ぎるまで生存扱いなんです。
I'm not sure if it was right to call that being demoned away. The wife is missing. At least that part was reality.
3年目はどうなんですか？神主は病死、妻は自殺ですよ。
前原さん、実はね、これも全く同じなんですよ。
The wife had supposedly thrown herself into the bottomless marsh deep in the forest around Hinamizawa. Was that dinging me? Again, not really sure what my microphone picks up, but I'm setting up an iPad, so I might have heard that ding in the background. Yep, that's me. Okay, good to know. Meaning it's all circumstantial evidence. They simply found her suicide note in front of the marsh. A diver was able to recover a few of her articles, but they weren't able to find a body. The investigative headquarters believed that she had faked her death and was still alive somewhere.
これらを鬼隠しと呼んでいいかちょっとわかりませんがね。
Though it is interesting to consider it.
前原さんの言う通り、確かに毎年一人行方不明になっています。
Oh, and there's somebody that's gone missing here.
今年の事件では富武さんの連れの女の人が行方不明。じゃあ去年の主婦の撲殺事件はどうです？誰か行方不明になりましたか？
The perpetrator.
確か犯人は逮捕されたんですよね。
逮捕されてます。以前に逮捕歴もあるやつでしてね、別件で取り調べ中に犯行を自供してます。ですがですね。
Here it comes.
犯人逮捕からしばらくして、被害者宅の子供が行方不明になったんです。
Oh.
犯罪に巻き込まれたのかどうなのか。 か。現在も捜査してます。
だって犯人は捕まったんですよね。それともその仲間が。
さあ、多分単独犯だと思います。もっとも今では確かめようもないんですよ。実はその男、取り調べ中に拘置所内でお亡くなりになっちゃいまして。
Of course he did. Of course he did. He swallowed a spork and choked to death. What the fuck? It's not known whether it was an accident or suicide. Damn, I accidentally swallowed this full-on spork, this plastic spork.
つまり過去5年間必ず死者と行方不明者が一人ずつ出ているわけなんですよね。
そうなります。いえね、私も驚いていますよ。こんな共通項には気づきませんでした。
I couldn't believe that this could help lead to the closing of those incidents. It was just something they had in common.
例えば鬼隠しにあって失踪した人には何か共通点があるとか。
Oishi-san mumbled as he seemed to be thinking about it. So I summarized the events.
1年目はダムの作業員、2年目は誘致派の男の妻、3年目は神主の妻、4年目は被害者宅の子供で、5年目は交際相手かな。
Well, associate. I don't really know what you could really call her.
特につながりはなさそうだし。
1年目はともかく妻とか交際相手とかそういう人が目立ちますな。
It does seem like there are a lot. Then that means the fourth year's victim's child was different. It would have really stood out if we're all married couples, except it's not just married couples, but parents and children as well. Come to think of it, I believe Tomitake-san also told me the younger brother is alive and has moved, if I recall correctly.
4年目に行方不明になった子供ってどんなだったんですか？
おとなしい感じの方だったらしいです。年はあなたの一つ上です。名前は
Yeah, okay, yeah.
サトシさん。
You know what? I was like, why did the music stop? And yeah, okay, I get it. I understand what's going on.
サトシ？
Oh, shit. I remembered that name. Didn't they tell me that Satoshi transferred out last year?
あなたの学校に去年まで通っていました。話を聞いていませんか？
No. Come to think of it, when I transferred in, I believe they said my seat belonged to a recent transfer student. Then where I sat once belonged to the one who was demoned away. It was his seat. I recalled the cold sensation that came from that desk. It made my hair stand on end. This string of mysterious deaths. No, Oyashiro-sama's curse. I now knew how it connected to me. That chilling sensation. It was the feeling of Oyashiro-sama caressing the back of my neck.
お社様のたたりか。
Could Oyashiro-sama's curse really exist? In all honesty, I was beginning to believe it. And I was scared. That was why I wanted to say it was a plot crafted by man and not the work of a curse. But the more I dug into it, the less likely that seemed. No, the more I dug, the more mysterious it became. If I kept digging eventually, I'd reach the point where I'd learn something I really shouldn't know. Isn't it like, wait, hold up. Isn't this like the third time we're saying this shit? Like, I get it, okay? We're learning a lot of crazy stuff right now, but I'm pretty sure that you thought to yourself, like, man, there's no going back now. I've learned too much. And I regret it. Like 3 different times, I'm pretty sure. To either be none the wiser or to seek an answer I may regret. Which one would I be happier with? Maybe it'll be me next time. My execution can only be delayed for 1 year. I mean, we could be murdered in other ways. That was when I remembered Rena. Rena said she may be the next victim of the curse.
竜宮レナさんがですか？去年転校されてきた前原さんのクラスメートですよね。女の子には刺激の強い事件ばかりです。怖がるのも無理ないんじゃないでしょうかね。
It wasn't that. She said it might be her next. She said it in a way that made me think she had a concrete reason behind it.
もっと確信じみたものだったように思います。なんていうのか、その。
She was frightened. Her sudden change in demeanor. That someone who looked like Rena wasn't Rena. That might be unrelated. All the strange things that I felt from Rena today came back to me.
そうですか。では、こちらでも少し調べてみます。前原さんも少し竜宮さんの様子に注意してあげてください。
Aw, man, do we have to?
それは、レナを見張れってことですか？
そんな意味ではありませんよ、前原さん。お友達が次の被害者にならないよう、少し気にしてあげてほしいということです。
At that moment, just as my mouth was agape because I was so impressed with his mature, clever way with words. Knock, knock. A sudden knock at the door sent my heart racing. In an instant, I had pointlessly covered up the end of the receiver.
ケイチ、ちょっとここを開けてくれ。
Why do we have to be the one that gets the door? On the other side of the door, I heard my father's oddly upbeat voice. What could it be? It's so late.
すみません、親父が来ました。今夜はこれくらいでいいですか？
ええ、夜分遅くに本当に申し訳ありませんでしたね。
Well, I'd like to tell you what the time is, but this background here, this clock here, just does not tell us a damn thing.
何かわかりましたら教えてください。こちらも進展がありましたらご報告しますよ。では、失礼します。
ケイチ、早く開けてくれ。父さん、両手が塞がってるんだ。
Oh, so, okay, I thought somebody was like trying to, somebody was here visiting and our father wanted us to get the door, but no, he's wanting us to get the door for him. What is Dad doing? I had stayed in the same position while on the phone the whole time, so my joints were aching. When I opened the door, I saw my father was standing there with a tray. On that tray, cookies and 2 cups of black tea, a fairly fancy spread for our household. There was even sugar and lemon slices on the side, everything you could ask for. This was quite the show of hospitality.
何父さん、それ何のつもりだよ。
もう、はぐらかすなよ、ケイチ。入るぞ。
Is this the first time we're interacting with our father? Dad was in high spirits and had a smirk on his face. But for my entire life, I've never seen him act this hospitable. What had gotten into him?
で、何の話をしてたんだ？
I jumped. It's not something I had to keep from my father, but how could I explain to him that I was talking to a detective, I'm assuming he was, this late at night?
別に何も。友達だよ。
電話の話じゃなくて、来てたんだろう、今。レナちゃんが。
Wait, what?
来てないよ。
もう、ごまかさなくたっていいぞ。さっきレナちゃんが遊びに来てたじゃないか。
What?
だいぶ話し込んでるみたいだったから、お茶でもって思ったら、すれ違いだったんだよ。
No. No, that's not what occurred. My main man, Keiichi's dad. I had no idea what Dad was talking about, but a cold sweat dripped down my back.
どのくらい話し込んでたかな。
レナちゃんが2階に上がったのが半くらいだったから、小1時間くらいかな。
2階に上がったの、父さん見たの？
She was eavesdropping. She heard everything on our end. She heard everything on our end.
ああ、見たよ。ケイイチの部屋は階段を上がって奥の扉だよって声もかけた。
Rena came to my house about an hour ago. Dad met her at the door and called out to me on the second floor. I probably didn't hear him because I was so focused on my conversation with Ueshi-san. I didn't reply, but he knew I was in my room, so he had her come inside. Then told her my room was on the second floor. She thanked my dad and went upstairs. Then about an hour passed. She passed by my dad just as he was bringing up tea and left. She came upstairs and about an hour passed. Then passed by my dad and returned home. Then she came upstairs and until she left, where was Rena? There's only a short hallway between my room and the stairs, meaning run ahead for about an hour in the hall. No, she couldn't have been standing in front of my door all that time. The door to my room wasn't particularly thick. You could easily hear everything being said inside. All of the unsettling and unguarded things I spoke to Ushi-san about began rushing through my head.
お父さん、あまりからかっちゃダメよ。それよりアトリエを片付けて。またこぼすわよ。
Mom yelled up at Dad from downstairs. Dad left the tray with me and went downstairs with a disappointed chortle. I followed my dad out of the room with my eyes. I looked down at the floor around the doorway where Rena might have stood all that time. Just now, as I was talking to Aoshi-san, with my back turned, Rena was standing a mere 6 feet away the whole time. What the fuck, dude? Alright, let's uninstall the game. All that time in this dimly lit doorway, what did she see? What did she hear? For what reason? As the steam from the 2 teacups ominously wafted and twisted, the aroma of the black tea filled my room. God damn it. Bro, this this fucking game. I wasn't expecting that. That's pretty good. That was pretty good. All right. Notice from the police chief. All right. Let's give it a view. We got the achievement lies. That's always good. So glad to have that achievement on my Steam record. I'd be sad if I didn't. July 1st, 1982. To Departments 1 through 12. Something Prefectural Police Headquarters. Director General who knows what, to the Chief, Constable, and all facility managers. Regarding cases situated in the Hinamizawa village, notice. As cases in Shishibone City, Hinamizawa village have been reported by certain sections of mass media. It has drawn global attention, which is causing serious repercussions for the local residents. This has become a very serious situation. To protect the livelihood and prosperity of the residents, the following notice has been issued. 1. Designate the following criminal investigations as classified. Okonomiya Station, 1982, case number whatever. Hinamizawa Village housewife murder dated June something. Okonomiya Station, 1982, case number. Hinamizawa Village student disappearance dated June something. Number 2. Non-disclosure of an NDA, tight. Okonomiya Station, 1979, case number whatever. Hinamizawa Village site foreman murder dated June something. Shira Station, 1980, case number whatever. Shirakawa Natural Park falling incident dated June something. Okonomiya Station, 1981, case number something. Hinamizawa Village Shinto priest wife's disappearance. Number 3, requesting self-restraint from each organization concerning the release of sensitive information. Please see attached reference materials 1, 2, and 3. Management, something, Prefectural Police Headquarters. Internal line, Police Affairs Department. Tight. So basically just, I guess, the official stuff in regards to everything we just heard. Or witnessed, or whatever the fuck. Alright, so what comes next? I can't wait to talk with Rena again. Wariness and a headache. Not a very nice way to start the day. I'll say.
どうしたの？ケイチ、今朝は顔色悪いわよ。昨夜は何時に寝たの？
Never. It seemed that my mom had noticed my sullen state. Yesterday I kept on waking up in the middle of the night. Without a doubt, I felt a presence. I felt the presence of someone standing in front of my door. I told myself repeatedly that it was my imagination and forced myself to try and sleep. Except not being able to stand it, I gathered up my courage and opened the door. Of course, there wasn't anyone there. I think I did this 3 times throughout the night. Or maybe I just didn't remember doing it any more than that. Even though I was able to get to the breakfast table without incident, I still didn't feel at ease.
風邪かもしれない。なんだか食欲ないんだ。
あら、ちょっと熱あるんじゃない？どうする？学校行ける？
Technically, I did go to a school, but it was mostly self-study. It wouldn't matter much if I missed a day, wouldn't it? It could have been that I hadn't been feeling well for the last few days because I really did have a cold. If I took some medicine and got a good day of rest, I might be able to greet everyone with a smile tomorrow. Uh-huh. Startled, I looked back and forth between the entrance and the clock. It was 10 minutes later than when I usually met up with Rena. It was Rena.
レナちゃん迎えに来ちゃったけど、どうする？お休みする？
Rena was a good girl. She might be somewhat quirky, but she was certainly cute. The lunches she made were delicious, and she always looked out for me. Why should I be so scared of something like that? It wasn't Rena's fault. It was probably mine. It had to have been my cold. It just had to be.
休む。ごめん。
じゃあ、母さんが断ってきてあげるわね。
Mom headed off to the door. I would have to pass by the entrance to get back to my room. I didn't have the nerve to meet with Rena, so I wrapped myself in a blanket on the sofa and closed my eyes. I was so sleep deprived, I quickly fell into a deep slumber. I remember kinda just taking a day to like rest. Either because I was, sick, or I was just that exhausted, and I felt like I really could just take a day and not miss much. But like, you really gotta think about it. You gotta think about like the repercussions. I'd only intended to lie down for a bit, but it was almost noon when I woke up. I called out to my parents, but they didn't seem to be around. On the table, I found lunch prepared and a note. Mom and Dad had apparently driven off to somewhere far away. Of course they did. Of course. Yes, that really is fantastic. Now that things are getting creepy, goodbye parents. It likely had to do with Dad's work. And this happened every so often, so it wasn't that unusual. They would be back for dinner, but it might be a bit late. On the note it said, "The insurance card is in the cabinet, take it and go to the hospital." There was also a well-drawn map to the hospital. That's right. I hadn't been there before, so I didn't know exactly where it was. I had a light lunch, although it really was just leftovers from the morning, and just in case, went to the hospital. Now, I think it's a little over the top to be going to the hospital, but maybe the hospital here is just technically the clinic. In my perspective. Normally I'd never be here in the middle of a weekday. Just walking around like this had me feeling guilty. It was an odd feeling. Following my mom's map, I took a road I usually never used. After walking for a bit, the hospital's sign came into view. Alrighty. I don't know how to pronounce that. Irai Clinic? Maybe somebody has already corrected me on this and I'm just really dumb. But it was written rather stylishly on the sign. The clinic wasn't very big, but based on the scale of the rest of Hinamizawa, it was far too grand. There was a parking lot and even a reserved spot for buses. They must be making a mint. I spaced out in the air-conditioned waiting room until it was my turn to be seen.
前原さん、診察室へどうぞ。
Nothing like a good old checkup. After half-heartedly answering all the chatty doctor's questions, he responded with the old, "It's probably a cold." They gave me a shot and 3 days worth of medicine. I thought it was a little overboard, but it would clear away the gloomy feeling I'd been having lately. Or if it would clear away the gloomy feeling, then it was worth it. I like the little alligator crocodile thing there. I settled the bill and took a quick trip to the washroom. As I was leaving, I overheard a conversation between some elderly people who seemed to be regulars at the clinic. Of course, I had no intention of eavesdropping. If it just wasn't for that word.
やっぱりOnikakashuかいね。
Oh, God.
どうかね。まだまだ若い子だけや。駆け落ちかもしられへん。どこの誰とよ。
季節のたびに東京もんが来ちょったろ。でっけえカメラ持った若者が。あれと仲が良きゃったって話。知られへんの？
Were they talking about Tomitake-san? I could feel my ears perking up.
そら知らんけど。でも、普通書き落ちっても仁義あるだろう。書き置きとか辞表とか書かんかいね。
すったらんかかんから駆け落ち言うんね。
わきゃ看護師さんの顔見られんようなるんは寂しいね。
高野さんはしっかり者よ。どこへ行ってもやっていけろん。
So her name was Takano-san. That woman with Tomitake-san. And she worked at this clinic? Oyashiro-sama's shadow was following me everywhere I went. I started listening more closely, but they began talking about fishing, and it didn't seem like they were going to revisit the topic. I gave up and left. Thus, even though I was separated from the daily monotony of school, I wasn't able to escape from Oyashiro-sama's shadow. But of course, Oyashiro-sama was the guardian deity of this place, of Hinamizawa. As long as I was in Hinamizawa, I wouldn't be able to escape. Let's just leave. Let's live in Shibuya. Maybe it was because I was walking outside, but my appetite had suddenly returned. I might as well buy a snack with the change from the examination fee on the way home. Contemplating that, I turned onto a familiar street. I swear if we run into Rena, or, anybody we know, it's gonna suck. At that moment, I heard a car horn abruptly honk behind me. Was I really walking so far into the middle of the road where I'd be in a car's way? I moved farther off to the side, but the horn was still honking at me. I turned around, peeved. Yeah, I kind of assumed.
Konnichiwa.
It was Ueshi-san. He stepped out of his car, AC on full blast, and waved at me.
今日はどうしたんです？学校はお休みですか？
ちょっと体調悪かったんで、今日は休みました。お昼を買って帰ろうとしてたところです。
そりゃよかった。
What part of that was great?
実は私、お昼に行こうとしてたんですよ。よかったらご一緒にいかがです？
Think you maybe missed the part there where we said we weren't feeling well.
ああ、お体に触るようでしたら構いませんよ。
I was just going to lie down after going home anyway. And I didn't really have a cold.
地元の食堂だと嫌でしょう。町まで行きましょう。ちょっと走りますがよろしいですかな？私、おいしいお店知ってるんですよ。
I'd finally begun to understand Ueshi-san's roundabout way of saying things. They probably wanted to talk to me about stuff that would be difficult to discuss while in Hinamizawa. I getcha. You sneaky fuck. But I respect it too. I went with Ueshi-san riding in his frigid car. It was almost as if the bright sunlight outside was a lie.
ゆうべは遅くまですみませんでしたね。ご家族に怒られませんでしたか？
No.
いえ。
Not particularly. I recalled Rena, who had been listening to the phone conversation all that time, separated from me by just the door. Even now, in the brightness of the sunlight, the thought still creeped me out. With a big bump that jolted the car, the road connecting to the city changed from dirt to pavement. My head swiveled back with a sudden realization. That's right. This was where Tomitake-san died.
富武さんの捜査は暗礁に乗り上げています。
Ueshi-san spoke while peering at me from the corner of his eye.
自分の爪で喉をかき破るという異常さから、幻覚作用のある何らかの薬物によるものだと信じているのですが。
Honestly, I can see it.
こういう症状、それも急激に引き起こす薬物はなかなかないらしいんです。もちろん、検視解剖もそれを念頭に置いて十分に行ったのですが、手がかりはやはりありませんでした。
漫画なんかによくあるじゃないですか。体内に取り込まれると分解したりして、証拠が何も残らないなんて、そんな薬。
ありますよ。塩化錯視、何でしたっけ？まあ、結構あります。でもですね。 富武さんのような症状を引き起こす薬物にはそういうものはないそうなんですよ。
じゃあ警察は富武さんはたたりで死んだってそう言うんですか？
I couldn't help but feel that the police were worthless. I just wanted the idea of a curse to be disassociated from Tomitake-san's mysterious death.
悔しいですが今のところは。ですが死因はともかく死ぬ前に何人かの人間に囲まれて暴行を受けたことだけは間違いありません。たたりでなく人間が事件に関わっているのは疑いようがありませんよ。
That made me a bit relieved. What, the beating his ass up part, or what? We passed in front of the rather desolate, but still busier than Hinamizawa train station. The car pulled into a restaurant parking lot, and I followed Oishi-san into the shop. It was pretty crowded, but there were only adults at this hour. Of course, there wouldn't be children in here in the middle of a weekday.
2名です。タバコは、我慢します。
こちらへどうぞ。ご注文がお決まりになりましたらお呼びください。
We were led by a peculiarly dressed waitress to our table. I sat with Ueshi-san in the booth.
どうです？このお店のウェイトレスさんの格好、可愛らしいと思いません？
まあどうでしょうね。
I understand that this man is just trying to connect with us and kind of, get rid of any awkwardness, but I feel like this is just creating more.
このお店ね、いっつも大人気なんですよ。お料理よりもウェイトレスさんがね。
ああ、大石さん、目がやらしいですよ。
そうですか？
Uh-huh. This man is truly something else. Regardless of how the waitresses looked, the food was decent enough. Finishing our meals while talking about some inane topic, Oishi-san's after-meal cup of coffee arrived at the table.
昨日、Hinamizawaの昔話が出ましたよね。
Oh, I bet we did, but we will discuss that in the next episode. I am out of time. I'm kind of going overboard with these episodes a little bit. I kind of want to see, I don't know how much there is to this game, but it'd be really tight if I can actually finish this by Halloween, if I just really went at it. I guess we'll see what happens, and episode lengths may vary. But anyways, what an episode. Really, just, I thought all the spookiness was going to be held off for a while, but man, they continued with it, and in a much more interesting way, I feel. That surprise there, that whole thing with Satoshi. Oh man, I feel like we're only going to learn more while also asking even more questions. And I'm down for it. Anyways, thank you all for watching this episode. If you enjoyed, please leave a like, subscribe, all that fancy jazz, and I will see you guys next time. Take it easy.